Now that June is fully behind us and we are in the heat of July, I want to take you through everything that happened last month, as well as what I expect this month and in August as we wrap up the summer before we get into the fall when things tend to take a little bit of a turn. Let's get to it. So, first and foremost, mortgage rates really haven't changed much. They did take a little bit of a dip at the end of the month, and I believe they may be creeping back towards that 7%. But hey, it ended a little bit under 7. That is a win. Inventory, though, did take a dip down. Now, if we look back at last year and the year before, we did see a similar decrease in August, but here we are at the beginning of July seeing exactly that. So it did happen a little bit earlier. I don't expect that to still happen again this August, where we see another 10+% decrease. I think it just happened a little earlier than normal. And part of why that happened is just the activity was very strong on the purchase side, and new listings did fall behind where we were the last couple of years. Now, one thing that I want to highlight is really the prices and what's happening there and what we should expect next month, because there's going to be a bit of an increase on those numbers because of one of the months that's going to be falling off our rolling 12-month average. This slide is getting a little bit harder to do, at least the sale to list prices, because as we continue to see lagging transactions and closing of those transactions, the data just isn't going to be accurate if I do it now, because some of those transactions may be a substantial swing and the volume just isn't high enough to say it's going to have a small impact. It could, but for now we just have TBD down there. But as you can see, having a 13% decrease from where we were last month is pretty substantial. But new listings is by and large about where we expected it to be. We are still up on the total compared to last year by about 8%, and that has resulted in pending sales 13% higher than through the same period of time last year. Now, looking back again over the last 2 years with that as our template, if the pattern holds, the Julys, we look back at those little blue bars, right after them, right? The Junes are a little bit higher than the Mays, and then we have July being a little bit higher than June. So, all things considered, we should expect there to be around 60 homes that go under contract this month. Now, is that going to be the case with inventory being lower than it was the same time last year? I don't know, right? Time will tell, but we shouldn't be shocked if we do see another strong month because that's what's happened in the last 2 years. Now, again, going back to 2022, the other year you can see on here, that was a different time. Interest rates were starting their swing up pretty heavily. So, yes, activity contracted, it shrank going through that year. But I think, again, we have a new pattern here, and it would be wise to follow suit as to what happens. So, looking back at that again, we do see similar activity to June in August as well. So we should see more of the same this month, or in August rather, as we saw this month, plus or minus a little bit, before we do see activity start to drop off in the fall. And a lot of that is common sense, right? Everybody's not here for the summer. Kids are back in school, work is back in full swing, all of that goes on, and then the holidays come. So more of the same, I think, coming. Now, again, these closed sale numbers are strong compared to last year, and that's what happens when you have 13% more going under contract. You're going to have more closings as well. So all that is good. Now, single families, a lot of those went under contract. We had 20 of them go under contract this month. It's tied for the most that we've seen this year. Single family market is still moving very strong, and there are a lot of record-setting prices happening in there too. We've got 3 million plus on West Avenue. We have two $9 million homes closing in June. So this is not one-off small things. The market seems to be here to stay in the single family world. And the appetite seems to be pretty large for those nicely built single family homes, not necessarily the cookie cutter ones, but the new construction market's still moving strong. And again, we do see this tail off. I've been talking about this for months now. We're 5 months of seeing an incremental decrease on our median sale price. That's going to jump right back up to be in line with where we've been for the better part of the last year, based off of a $1.5 million average that's going to fall off and should be replaced by something in the 2 million range, which is where we've been the last few months. Days on market, I'm going to kind of stop talking about, at least for the next few videos, because it's really not changing a whole lot. It's not having an impact. Even if the days on market metric is rising, it's not stopping people from buying. It's not really impacting that sale to list price ratio in any meaningful way. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Switching over to condos, again, more of the same. Still very strong there in condo land with prices continuing to rise. The mean has stayed about flat the last couple months, but our median continues to chunk up. And based off of, again, the month that's going to be falling off our 12-month rolling average and the month that I expect to see in July. That should continue upwards as well. As it goes with these single families, again, the days on market here is still pretty much more of the same. Now, speed, what you're going to see here is not going to be eye-popping by any stretch. We're more or less about where we were last June. And a lot of these months are trending similarly to where they were the last couple of years. July of last year was extraordinarily strong and fast. Do I expect to see that again? It's possible. That was driven in large part, by a lack of new listings, and activity was still strong on top of that. I could make a case where we could see that again. But again, that's something I'll be keeping a close eye on as the trend continues to play out, keeping us under two new listings needed for every one home that goes under contract, which is great. Now, where are we going is the unknowable question, but it's the thing that we like to think about the most and try to forecast, predict what's coming. Mortgage rates, I do think the Fed will cut rates this year. I don't expect it in the month of July, even with the overarching, I'll say, economic picture, the political pressure, all of that. I think we would probably see it September at the earliest. Time will tell, mid-month, maybe I'll be bringing you a good update. But, inflation, I just don't think the metrics are going to give Jerome Powell what he apparently needs to see to make the cut. Now, inventory, again, this was a little bit of an abnormal drop compared to what we've seen in years past, but on the whole, it just decreased our inventory sooner than normal. Now we're back up in the 230s already. So we're almost where we were at this time last year. We're a little bit lower as that drop again happened through July and got us down lower into the beginning of August. It's what happens in the summer. Exactly when it happens is anybody's guess. It's not like we all take out our calendars, sellers and owners take out their calendars and say, hey, look, I'm going to list on this day because this is how many homes listed this week or this day last year. It doesn't happen. That's not reality. So I don't want to focus too much on the week to week or month to month all the time. Again, always have to look at that big picture and add the appropriate context to really get a sense for what's coming and what's going on. Price wise, again, strong month, all things considered, despite that decline you see, single families, it's going to come right back up next month. Now, that almost wraps up what we're going to talk about today. I want to bring you a little something extra here that I'm excited about. The format of these monthly market updates has not changed. The data sources have not changed for years now, and I pride myself on having that consistent level of data. I am leaning fully into artificial intelligence going forward to help supplement and improve everything that I'm doing so that you all can get the best possible information catered to you in the way that only I know how to, which is straight to it and full-blown honesty. So I'm going to be pulling in a lot of different data and toying with it. There may be some experimentation going on. So I would appreciate any feedback of what you would like to see. If you see something different and you think it's cool or it was helpful, please let me know. Again, any of the ways that you see on that last slide or down in the description, reach out to me. I'm looking forward to iterating more going forward. I'm going to be creating more content, not just relying on these market updates going forward. I'm going to get back to hopefully one a week instead of one every other week, because as this market continues to evolve, I want to make sure that you have the information that you need and I'm able to help as many people as possible navigate this crazy world that we're in, because I think it's going to keep being a little bit crazy. A lot of seesaw or tug of war going back and forth a little bit between headlines, realities, and how the market here is reacting. So thanks as always for hanging out with me. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out, and I will see you on the next one.